All right, everybody. Oh, happy day. I hope you're doing phenomenally well. Today we have Corey, my goodness, getting after it. We're going to go through some things with you. He had joined, oh my goodness, and in 3 weeks, yes, just 3 weeks, 12,579 smackaroonies. Okay, 7 separate sales. Was definitely not sitting on his hands, wrote business his very first day from graduating the Telemastery program. A beast, absolute amazing man. Corey, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Corey definitely took everything to heart and is just an amazing agent in his own right. Just phenomenal success. And to do over $12,000 plus an AP, and we're not even talking about your Medicare insurance sales that you did in that first 3 weeks of getting after it. Okay, let me share with you, the audience, that's not an easy task, and that's not what everybody else always does, let me tell you. But 75% of the graduating classes that go through the Telemastery program, where Corey partnered with my agency to go through, all write business their very first day. And Corey, how was it for you your first day after graduating and getting live and getting after the phones?
Man, it was awesome. Honestly, going through the program was, it just kind of gave me all the tools I needed. Lots of practice, loved being able to go through and practice objections, practice, going through the script. My confidence was high. I was pumped up. I woke up ready to get at it. And a large part of that was, I think, due to your training and the systems that are in place to just set people up for success. So it was fantastic. Really enjoyed it.
Had you ever gone through a Telemastery program of that nature before? Because I know you've done insurance prior to, partnering. Have you ever done insurance where you were given turnkey systems or gone through that kind of a regiment before?
I would say I'd had training that had been peppered, and so I had access to some scripts that had been written, that had been used by other groups. But I think what people need to understand is that, a script is part of it, but delivery is a big part of it. Overcoming objections is a big part of it, and just, having that mindset. So, what I didn't have was something that was as in-depth and comprehensive of a training program to sit and be focused on just training for 5 straight days and having homework. I mean, it's a full-time job, the training, right? And I think if you approach it that way, you're going to come out and be successful. Everything else I'd done in the past was like a little bit here, a little bit there. Oh, you could try this, and we might spend 15 minutes here or 15 minutes there, but nothing like I went through with you. And so I would have to say, no, nothing like turnkey like that, just little tidbits here and there that really you can find online pretty much anywhere.
Absolutely. And the free Frankenscript stuff that's out there, it's like, has the Frankenscripts ever given you the success that you're experiencing now? Like, you go like past to present when you're dealing with Frankenscript stuff?
No, I would say not. And there, honestly, reflecting back on it now, there are some key things in your system that set you up for success. Honestly, it's just a more relaxed phone call. I really feel like I'm helping people and blessing people as opposed to pushing them and badgering them to spend every last penny on something. And my sales have gone more effortlessly. I've really enjoyed the interaction with the client a lot more, and I think they've enjoyed it. Honestly, I think I'm developing lifelong clients that's going to yield way more income over time because they view me as their agent, not as the guy that called them and they, woke up with buyer's remorse a month later when their bank account comes out for way more than they maybe should have gone for.
Absolutely. And chargeback hell that a lot of agents experience in outside agencies, because they come into it from this place of, oh, I'm going to back the death truck to your door, and we're going to talk about all these costs and everything. It's like you're pressuring a client into something instead of really going to that next level of training that client. And you're right, it's not, you're creating this relationship with them, and it's powerful. Like our agency at jasonfinalexpense.com, where I partner and coach and train, and we do Medicare insurance and annuities and life insurance and all kinds of fun stuff. But let me tell you, is anything that I teach, train, or help with abrasive?
No, absolutely not. Not at all. I would say this really to anybody that's entering the industry, you're going to have to step outside your comfort zone, right? You have to do that to be successful. But when you look at the script and if when you reflect on calls that you've had, it's not an abrasive, it's not an aggressive position. You truly are right out of the gate, blessing people and making sure you're really trying to take care of them and put them in a better place. And honestly, you get to walk through the calls and your day with your head held high, knowing that you're putting people in a better place than they were before they talked to you. And that to me is the great thing about the system. But I would say honestly to anybody who's new, or even to veterans, right? A lot of times you have to step outside your comfort zone, whether that's dialing multiple times or coming back after an objection or something like that. In order to really put people in the best place possible, you have to be able to step outside that zone.
Absolutely, Rod. I appreciate you saying that. And I know a lot of places, they talk about things but don't do it. Like they're like, oh yeah, here's a contract. You've got no ability to capitalize on it. Like when we partner, like just for the audience, like when you need something, how long does it take you to get a hold of me? How do you have to schedule calls or go onto my Calendly or do crazy to access support from my agency in any way, shape, or form?
Absolutely not. I mean, you're responsive. You're right there. I can reach out to you via your cell phone. And honestly, if you were in something, first off, I really appreciate that you let us know as an agency that, hey, I'm gonna be out of pocket today or something, because whatever, but there's so many experts as well in our groups that you're never left without support. And everybody reaches out to you first, and honestly, I don't think it's ever been more than 10 or 15 minutes that I ain't gotten a response.
And that's not always, like we're a work family, like Corey and every person on the team, it's like a partnership. And what does that mean to you, Corey, in the business where you have a partnership instead of somebody that maybe in the past where you've got this like, I'm in power, you're the peon kind of an environment? Can you share with us, like, what does that mean to you? What does that look like?
Honestly, what it means to me is everything. I wouldn't be here, to be honest with you. I think people that are listening to this and people that are out there looking for a home, right? There's options and there's choices, and you can make good choices or bad choices. Right at the top of my list was the faith in the team and that feeling of connectedness in the family. To me, what it means, honestly, and what does it look like? It's selflessness, right? We're all taking care of business and we're taking care of ourselves, but man, it's a group of people that reach out and help each other and respond to each other at the drop of a hat. So I've gotten to know, even though it's maybe agents that aren't on my team, right? I don't even have a financial interest in their success, but I have a family interest in their success, right? And I communicate with them and we talk, and it's amazing. You know what I mean? It's really a great culture you have.
Absolutely. And it's what, we have together, because there's it's the power of us together.
Yeah, true.
I mean, the power of us is so much larger than any one individual, me, myself, and I. And that's I love the fact you talk about the selflessness of our team and the fact that, you help other folks. And even when you joined and partnered, for training and help. And it's just so much fun to be able to have the blessing of being together, on that journey with you. And then even with, yourself being able to support, your team and where you've gone, where you've been able to duplicate turnkey systems. We can even talk about that. Yikes. I mean, your team, phenomenal. Like they've got that hustle muscle. You've got great, people that you've been able to attract and accelerate. Obviously I help anything you need. God, there's nothing I won't do for you, but your team is phenomenal. Like what you've grown within your own agency is that's powerful. And how do you feel knowing that you've got now, it's like, here you were a beast, 12,000 plus $579 in 3 weeks. and now you've got your own agency running the ship your way. How's that feel to have, so many successful people that you've been able to duplicate yourself?
Yeah. As much as I'd love to take the credit, right? Credit where credit's due. I'm humbled to work with great people, and we are our own little mini work family as well. And I just kind of take the model from you and bring it down to our group. But it is, it's partnering with great people. That's the most important thing to me. I know when I was talking to you, like when we were first talking about building an agency and whatnot, your advice to me was, partner with people you'd have over to dinner, right? And that stuck with me and resonated with me ever since. And there's the only people I'm interested in partnering with, to me in an agency, the culture is the most important thing. If you have a culture of people helping each other and, high activity, high production, because people are enjoying the work, that's what's going to breed success, and that's what's going to breed happiness. As opposed to some type of a top-down, philosophy. I've never been a top-down kind of person. In fact, I've always told anybody I've worked with, all the way back to my days in public education when I was a principal, I said, if you want to burn a building down, you start the fire in the basement, right? Not in the attic, right? Because fires burn up. So you get your agents excited. You build that family, that team atmosphere, and everything else takes care of itself.
And it does. And it's like, what's crazy is like to not only see what you've done, but what you've spurred on when you grew your own agency and your own team. It's exciting. I mean, it's like, it's fascinating to see that, the turnkey systems that we have, the proof's in the pudding, everyone. Everybody can talk whatever. Okay. But it looks like hard work. The agents that you've brought on that have gone through the telemastery program as well, so they've got access to everything. Did more than 75% of them all write business their very first day of touching leads, Corey?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they were chomping at the bit. They were reaching out to me on, Wednesday and Thursday of that week. Hey, can we get going? Can we get going? Can we get going? And I said, hey, keep your eye on the prize. You know what I mean? You got a big day ahead of you. I want you to be prepared and soak it in. But yeah, in fact, I want to say all of them wrote within the first week. So I think 100% of our team ended up, getting on the board, and it's just such a great feeling. Nobody wants to go through something and invest time and, resources and then come out and go, oh, I can't do this, and have that feeling. And it's that first success that makes people go, I can do this. That was awesome. And, I tell my team this all the time. You're never static, right? You're either moving forward or you're moving backward. You're moving forward or you're moving backward. And every great conversation moves you forward. It makes you want to have the next one, right? And every moment where you kind of unplug from a system or unplug from the process, you're kind of moving backwards. So we're never static. We never can just hit pause, right? We're moving one direction or the other. So honestly, our team, I'm really proud of them. We all practice intentional kind of positivity, intentional, mindset. We don't just let that happen, right? It's something that we are very intentional about, and make sure like, hey, we're going to wake up each day, and you teach this in your course, right? We're waking up each day and we're saying, hey, we got this. We're blessing people. We're going to make a difference in somebody's life today. I don't care if I have to dial 300 times and talk to one person, that person's going to be happy they talked to me. And so I think we all adopt that mindset, and we just move forward each day. And we schedule time to just get together on Zoom and visit and just be our work family. Don't even have an agenda. But yeah, I think it's huge, right? Mindset's everything.
Absolutely. And I love what you're doing. And it's, a lot of people that work remote that do telesales, it's like you're on like this lonely little island, and the loneliest number is one, everybody. It really is. Like to have a team, it's powerful to have a group of folks that believes in what you're doing, right? And believes that you can make it. And not only just belief, because belief is like empty, it's nothing if you don't have action, but to see people like, Corey, he sees it all the time where it's like sales are going off like popcorn. It's like, it's seriously like Corey and all of our partnerships. It's like the special forces of telesales. Like in the course of a day, Corey, what do you witness when it's like pop, pop, pop going on?
I mean, there's a pep in your step, there's a smile on your face, and it just makes you want to get after the next one, right? It's that momentum we're talking about, that you're never standing still. It's like, hey, when I get one, I want another one. When I get two, I want two more. When I get two more, I want four more. And you just kind of keep going. I find it's weird. The days I work the longest are the days I'm most successful. I guess that's not weird, right? That kind of makes sense. But what ends up happening is you have success and it drives you to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. And again, just kind of going back to the system and the process, it's so different from other scripts that just have you cramming things down their throat when you almost feel like you're just at them. And it's just so good to talk to people and bond with them and literally help them and have them thank you afterwards and share a story. And I love telling all my clients at the end of the call, like, I've really enjoyed getting to know you, and I look forward to speaking with you pretty much for the rest of your life. So it's a great industry to be in. And I'm really happy, probably happier than I've ever been, just as far as work is concerned, just helping people all day long.
And it's kind of fun. I mean, and a lot of times other agencies, other places, they're like, oh, I need you to turn in this accountability sheet, or there's nothing with accountability. Accountability is crazy important if you ask for it. But how was your experience with me from a micromanagement standpoint? How's that been?
There's not. I don't think that word would enter the top 10,000 traits, of working with you. There's no sheets to turn in. There's not a dial sheet. We don't need to know how many contacts, how many presentations did you do. In my team, we talk about that stuff, right? But there's not a sheet you turn in. It's like, hey, we're all big boys and girls, right? And we all run our own business. And flexibility is a good thing, but flexibility can also be a bad thing, right? And so you have to be responsible about it. But working with you, it's the only thing I would say is it's 100% support. If you've ever worked with a manager, not that you're a quote unquote manager or a boss, but if you ever work with somebody and you feel like what they do is get behind you and just push and support, right? They're never in front of you pulling, right? That's an icky feeling to be pulled somewhere, but it's a good feeling to like kind of get that support and that extra push, And just to clarify too, when I say push, it's the way to goes and the memes and the stuff like that. It's never like, hey, you're only 500 away or 1,000 AP away. That never happens, So it's just, again, support, never pulling, that really supportive kind of push. Hey, I'm there for you. I got you, whatever you need. Great feeling.
And I know, Corey, we've chatted about this. I've always told you the only things I won't do for you is if it's illegal or immoral. Everything else, like
right, yeah.
And from an agency standpoint, when you're building, your agency, you're doing phenomenal things in that. I'm crazy proud of you personally, but also what your team's doing. That's phenomenal. And it takes a true leader to do what you're doing. And I love partnerships. That's what we do together. It's to be able to help in any way that I can. That's my absolute honor. And I love just seeing every agent's success that partners and joins and outside agencies. We've got tons of agencies that have joined us, and we just work together as a big old team. It's like you're running your own ship, but at the same point, did it help a lot for you when you started out and you did just explosive growth, and you're still having explosive growth personally and professionally? But when you just blew up and started your own agency, were the systems that you were provided, were they helpful for you and your team to kind of get you where you wanted to go and to kind of where you're heading? How was that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, I personally experienced the value of having, when you say turnkey, right? People use that word lightly. It's a well-oiled machine, So the system is, you just follow it, right? Which is honestly kind of one of the key components of being a good agent. You have to be humble. You have to go into this going like, hey, I can learn things. And so you adopt the system, you follow it to a T. You don't skip things, and you'll be successful, right? So what happened was, I went out on my own first, started doing my thing, and then, building a team, starting to partner with other agents, and we speak the same language, right? And that's, I think, is huge. There's a lot of groups, I'm guessing, out there that, maybe this guy's using this script, this guy's doing this guy's chasing this kind of business, this guy's doing that. We all speak the same language. We know exactly what we're talking about. And so that's been amazing. I think that is probably one of the best things that's allowed us to gel as a team, as well as kind of experience the team success, is that we all have the same system, we all are using the same script, we're all using the same rebuttal system, and when somebody needs help, we all speak the same language, right? So it's not everybody off kind of just running their own system, right? Because we're a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're a family. So yeah, I think that's been huge.
In our work family environment, a lot of people, I don't know, a lot of agencies, a lot of professional trainers like what I do and like what we do together as well. It's almost like wet noodle against a wall. Like you got a pole, got a place, yay. We don't operate that way, not
No,
even a little bit. And it's like would you say culture is important to you and culture matters in a big
I'd
way?
I'd say it's probably at the top for me, for sure.
And have you witnessed bad cultures in your past?
I mean, who hasn't, right?
And that's the thing. It's like bad culture will kind of like seep into you like the cold. It gives you hypothermia quick and you're going to tap out. And it's not maybe because you didn't know what you were doing, but even when we go through like the telemastery program, and it's not the easiest thing on the planet, but crazy success when you get through it. And when you go through something like that, Corey's done insurance for quite some time as well, but in the class, did I treat you any different than I did a brand new agent?
No, in fact, I want to say my first crack at the script, I think I said, "Hi, Billy," and you said, "Does it say hi? Does it say hi in the script?" And it was like, oh, "Okay, well, yeah, let me follow the system. I'm here to learn, right?" So no, and that was much appreciated. You know what I mean? That's why I signed up for the course, right? And that's why I wanted to partner with you, is because it works, right? Why go out and try and reinvent the wheel? Why go partner with a group that's not doing well? I mean, why would we
Right.
do that? We want to follow a system that works, that's proven to work, that's yielding producers at a high level, and really the only ingredient you need to put in is effort. So and that's one thing you can control, right? So
Right. You would think. I wish I could train the hustle muscle. And
yeah.
it's such a blessing to be able to watch like you succeed, but then you duplicate yourself in exploding with your own agency. It's powerful. It really is. Like to sit back, I'm like, man, I just sit back. I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah, get it, Corey. That's awesome. Like watching your team explode. And when I think didn't one of your brand new agents, like their first day, did they get 2 sales, or was like their first hour or 2 on the phone got a sale? Was it 2 or 1 sale in their first hour on the phone? What was that?
I've had a couple of them. Just thinking back, in fact, I think I've had 3 agents on their first day come out with 2 sales, or in the first 2 days, 2 or 3 sales. But yeah, it's I don't want to say effortless. And here's the interesting thing I think about this industry is people confuse easy with like effort, right? And that's not what I mean. Like it's a easy to understand system, it's turnkey, it makes sense, it's effective, but you work your butt off. No, policies don't fall out of the sky. I don't care what you're using. And so but it's great to have that other component, where you can supply the hustle, and you can supply the energy and the effort, and the system's going to work. You have faith in it, as opposed to I'm putting in all this energy and I have no faith in the process I'm using. I have no faith in how I underwrite. I have no faith in, am I doing the right thing? I don't know. All that part's taken care of. So the only thing you have to focus on is your mindset, your energy, your hustle, right? and everything else works.
And it's so awesome. I mean, like some of your reps that were just like, got out of the telemastery program and immediately were like, pop, pop, pop. And, you know, you're just helping just polish them, and they're just performing at such amazing levels. And it's just exciting to see that, you know, we're all a big work family, and to be able to, you know, help your clients get what they want. And then, oh, by the way, you'll get the sale. It's not this like awkward, annoying, pushy pants process that, I don't know. I think a lot of people hate insurance agents because of that. You're like that bad guy from, and not even bad, but you know what I'm talking about, from Groundhog Day. That guy's like, hi, you know, he's like, I'm a selling insurance. Like, oh no, run from that dude. You
Right.
know?
Right.
You know, to have
You
the
can I was gonna say, you can hear it in people's voices when you get them on the phone, what they're accustomed to. And it is such a breath of fresh air when you get, you know, honestly, in your script, you're the top of the second page, right? Middle of the second page. By the time you get there, I can hear my clients relax, right? And it becomes more of a, hey, they kind of have trust in you, and hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here, you know, it's not, you know, I think one thing you said in training that resonated with me is like, hey, we're not going to spend 15 minutes talking about, you know, underwater basket weaving that you don't know anything about just because that's what the script says to do. They smell that, you know? And so the fact that, you know, they're relaxing is like, hey, yeah, this guy's taking care of me, you know what I mean? And it just you can feel it. I can feel it on the phone, right? I can feel it because I can hear when they first answer, it's this, oh no, it's one of you again. Right. And then by the time I get through just a little bit, it's like, okay, right, I'm relaxed. This is working.
And it's amazing, like that you say that. But when our clients relax, then it's like greased skids, everybody. Like, and this is the difference between a lot of you out there in the YouTube space that are getting these free Frankenstein scripts, these like 15-page pieces of garbage, the ones that start up with, hi, how are you today? And you don't care, and they know it. They can smell you a mile away. And then you're you know, pushing the casket up to the front door and talking about rising costs of death and all this junk. And it's like they've heard that a dime a dozen, a million times. And to have a power script that's not 15 pages deep, like we are in a place of, can I help this person, or do I need to move to serve the next person that wants what I offer? We're only about 10, 15 minutes deep, everyone. And we're able to get so many more sales than the average agent because we're not using Frankenstein scriptings. We're not using these free scripts like what Corey's talked about in the past that really give minimal results. And it because you've used some of that stuff in the past, and it's a lot more time on the clock, isn't it, to get the same result?
Yeah, for sure. You know, when you're talking, it kind of, and what we were just talking about, it reflected me back. Honestly, I think on the last sale I did, the lady answered the phone by saying, "What do you want?" Right, and it resulted in a sale. How often does that happen? You know, so yeah, it started with, "What do you want?" And by the end, you know, she's you know, thanking me, and, oh, I'm so happy I talked to you, and I absolutely, you know, I'm gonna be here to help you out. It's just it's a great feeling, you know, to be able to do that.
And it didn't take you 2 hours on a script before you find out if they want to do business with you?
No. In fact, it took me, probably 45 minutes from what do you want to I'll follow up with you when the policy is issued. And that includes trying to do an electronic application with, you know, difficult to collect signatures.
Right. And that's amazing. Like, to a lot of folks in the industry, they think that you have to blab 18 pages of just junk words that are like, really, what do you want? Like, get to it. Like, we get to it, but in such a kind, loving way.
Yeah.
And our results are different. The fact that Corey can here go through, what do you want, to wrap the policy up with a bow. He's probably on her Christmas card list now.
Yeah, she's on mine.
Right? And it's awesome. But a lot of folks, they don't realize that if you do things right, you do things well, you don't have to have this long drawn out anything. You're helping the client get what they want, no different than a doctor that would diagnose a problem and take care of it acutely. 45 minutes from point to point. Corey just did a sale yesterday, and that includes the phone interview and the entire process. It's a different turnkey system than here's a script. I hope you capitalize. You'll probably not make it. You're a wet noodle against a wall. And unfortunately, I think a lot of us, and I think Corey, you've witnessed this in your past too, where it's like this churn and burn model of here you go, get after it, hope you make it, bud. And 90+% of the agent force dies out, as opposed to what we are, which is almost polar opposite.
Yeah. 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 I think for sure, I've seen situations where agents have, gotten pulled into something, and it's like, here's 200 names, here's a script, go. If you don't show up tomorrow, that's all right. We've got another person right behind you. It's icky. I mean, it's just to sum it up, it's kind of icky, and you want people to stick. To me, my heart tells me when I'm investing in someone, I want them to succeed, and it's not for my financial well-being, to be honest with you, it's for theirs, and it's for the opportunity. And I love anybody you talk to will tell you I'm a dreamer, and that's who I'd like to partner with, right? I like to partner with people that think big, that go big, and honestly, they get right back on the bike when they fall off. And it's not oh, I'm sorry this didn't work out for you, peace. Right? That's not how we do it. We support each other. We, celebrate together. We do everything together as far as the business is concerned. So, I think that's also kind of the model that you have in your group. Everybody's there supporting each other and helping each other. Like I said, I have agents in the Telemastery group that honestly, reach out to me and will call me and text me and we'll talk back and forth, not because I'm their upline or because, I have any other type of business relationship with them, just because we're in the same group and we help each other out.
Absolutely. And it's nice to have like this good culture of, hey, you got agency owners doing their own thing. You've got other individual agents doing their thing, but yet we're all supportive. And that's not industry norms. I mean, normally it's like, you stay in your corner, you stay in your corner, you stay in your corner, and you stay, leave me the heck alone, kind of a thing. And it's like, I think culture matters. And it's like, to be a dreamer with clear direction, it's dynamic. It just is. With absolute turnkey systems that are directed in a good way, if you just apply hard action, it's dynamic and it's amazing. But if you have a dream with no direction, you're using free Frankenstein stuff, what will happen, unfortunately, is it's going to be a disaster for you. It's not going to be great. And it's because direction is important. Dreams are amazing. And knowing where you're going is phenomenal. Like, have that roadmap. And that's the thing you've given to your team. It's like, man, your own leadership and what you're doing your way, like you're doing it your own way. And I'm just like excited, for what you're going to continue to accomplish and what you're already doing. It's just amazing. I mean, in fact, you're still slaying it individually as well as working together with, your team and with the group. It's exciting. I'm so proud of the fact that you're still just like leading from the front instead of some agencies where their upline has their feet on the desk all day long. They schedule calls to get a hold of them. Have I ever made you schedule a Calendly to talk to me? Or have I ever made you do that ever for your agency or even when you're an individual?
I would back up even before that. When I first reached out to you because I was looking for somebody to partner with, I very vividly remember filling out the form, and 3 minutes later there was a phone call, and I was like, and that's kind of just been the way it is. Do you even own a Calendly? I don't know how to book a call with you. I just text you, right, or I just call you. So no, I think that honestly, your accessibility is way above what anybody would even expect, and it's awesome. You know what I mean? So. Well,
we've got to be engaged. And this is where a lot of people, don't understand. And it's not like Corey knows his stuff. Okay. He's highly skilled, but guess what? Corey knows that if he needs me, I'm there for him. He doesn't have to go schedule it or email me and I'll get back with him within days. My goodness. Because when you're an agency owner, like what Corey is as well, when he's doing it, sometimes you got questions, right, Corey? I mean, it's gonna happen. And it doesn't mean you always need it 911, but it's nice to know that you've got a work family that's there quickly and that you've got people around you that are going to help you become even sharper. And it's like, that's what I'm so excited for. And a lot of folks, so you're right. I refuse to make anybody book a call to talk to me. That's ridiculous. Like,
right.
I refuse to do the Calendly thing or, go email me when we can chat later. It's like, cry me a river. It's like recipe for disaster. And have you experienced that in your past where you've had agencies you work with where past 5 o'clock, things of that nature, they make you like, talk to you tomorrow, bud, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely, can think back to times when, you've needed help or something and, you've reached out via text message, via whatever, GroupMe, Hangouts, whatever platform you're using, to somebody, and it's just, there's just no response. It's like crickets, right? And the sad thing is sometimes in those situations too, is that other people in the group will see that and they'll see, hey, he's reaching out, he needs help, and nobody steps up, right? That's sad. That's sad. Nobody steps up, and other people could answer that question, or other people could be there to be of assistance, and no one will step up. And it's just, to me, like going back to what we talked about earlier with culture, that's a culture problem, and if you don't attend to culture, then it's never going to happen, and that's honestly something I bring from my past. I was a principal for 5 years in public schools, and culture is intentional. And like, really everything you do is intentional. Like I tell the team this too, right? I say, you either if you fail to plan, right, you're planning to fail, right? So if I don't have a plan for the culture, if I don't have a plan for my day, if I don't have a plan, right, for this call, then
right?
I'm planning to fail. That's a reality. So, but yeah, going back to like the help thing, that's a culture issue. And I think as leaders, as agents, I mean, everybody's a leader, whether you're a solo agent or not, you're leading something. You got to tend to culture. And it starts with mindset, and it starts with the very first thing you teach on the very first day of the telemastery course, right? And that you go back to that, and it's the foundation you need to really set yourself up for success.
And foundations are huge. And you're right. Like if an agency doesn't have a good culture, you know what? It may be a cult, people.
Yeah, right.
MLM.
I know it.
I think we've all been there. Not that anybody cares what I say, okay, but I used to be captive way back in the day, and I've worked for different agencies with all kinds of stuff in my past life. But let me tell you, it was funny. Like one time, it's like you call it like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, needing a simple question, okay, and it's like straight to voicemail. Like, really? Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, business 8 to 5, and you're busy sucking alcohol while I'm slaving. What in the world? And it's like no response until Monday. It's like, wow, right? It's like not in a good way, folks. So it's like support is it is important, and support can save you when you're in the telespace and you've got a simple question. Doesn't mean 911, but maybe it's a simple question that helps you make the difference between $600 and $1,000. Because you can maybe get a client day one coverage or something, a different product that may be a better fit for them. And, I think that's where you and your team as well, you've got the exact same, model and massive, drive where you're there for your team. And that's not norm, brother. I mean, that's not norm. Normally it's like, never call me again. Here's your contract. I mean, unfortunately, like the industry is plagued like locusts with these places that treat their agents, right, not as a partner in the business like how we work, but they treat people more like, you're my little peon kind of a thing. And it's it's demoralizing. Like if you've got uplines, everybody that are speaking to you that way, let me tell you right now, it's not going to get any better. It'll get worse.
True. True. Yeah. You know, we talked about the hustle muscle just a little bit ago, and you said you can't train the hustle muscle, right? But you could spot someone, you know, and that's kind of the way I look at it. And, you know, we're talking about times and stuff like that. I'm on the East Coast, right? And my team largely is in central time zone, or, you know, whatever mountain. I think they're all central. But anyhow, you know, I'm an hour ahead of them. And there's been times when they've reached out to me, you know, it's like it's there 10:30 at night, and I'll see a post, and I'm like, hey, what, you know, and they're confused about something or looking at something. And I say, well, hang on, give me a minute. Let's go ahead and Zoom on it. We'll do midnight Zoom. You know what I mean? It's like, hey,
Yeah.
if you're working, I'm working, right? Like if you're hustling, I'm spotting, right? That's just the way it is. And my, you know, my family out here, like they just know it, right? I go places, and this thing, like, you know, I'm never, oh, I'm out with so and so, I'm not free, right? Or I'm, you know, we're at dinner, like we're at dinner, and then I'm stepping out. It's just what I do, you know. And I think that is a big part of it. You know, like people are going to put forth more effort. They're really going to try and train their hustle muscle if they know somebody's spotting them, you know.
And even,
But it's,
yeah, it's true. I mean, I love the fact that, you know, you and I are like birds of a feather, like peas and carrots. It's like these bad boys with
yeah,
us times, right? It's like, yikes, hope they don't radiate us.
right. No kidding.
But to be that committed, you know, to your agent force, just like how we partner, it's massively important, because even the strongest agents, the most successful of agents, you need a spot like Corey's speaking to here. Every now and then you need a spotter if you really want to get stronger. If you want to have what you've always done, like they say, you're always going to get what you've always got. You're not going to accelerate in your success if you don't have someone that's willing to spot you. And you don't have to always be the strongest person in the room to spot someone else. I had a gym buddy back in college, amazing dude. And that guy's like right forearm, Corey, was like my thighs weren't even as big as that dude's forearm. This guy was like a monster. I love this dude. But he would have little old me, okay, spot him. And he was my workout partner. And that guy killed me, but I loved him to death. And I knew that he'd keep me out of trouble. And he also knew that I would spot him and be there for him. And that's, I think, so important, and such a drastic difference of how you run your agency, how we partner together, and how we have like-mindedness. You know, I love how you're operating. I mean,
I love the partnership. That's for sure. You know, that it's funny. I speak in analogies too, just like we were talking, you know, again, the spot thing. When you're pushing, right, you're willing to go one more when you know somebody's got your back, right? You're willing to put it out there a little bit more and go after it if you know somebody's got your back. And I think that also is part of it too. It's like, you know, hustle's awesome, and it is an absolute requirement to succeed, but support's right there too. You know, or otherwise there's a limit to your hustle, right? So.
And it's so true what you're saying. I love that. And everybody too, just so that y'all know, everything in life and in work, it's not always every day. Okay. You're going to have a tough day. You won't have a tough week, but you will have a tough day where, you know what? Maybe if you're new, maybe if you've done a little while, maybe you have a day that you get your britches handed to you, that you don't get maybe what you want, but you can't lose your way here. And this is why it's important to have good partners in the business that are there with you to help you vent, help you understand like perspective, because sometimes it's not the problem, everybody. It's your perspective about the problem. And if you have one bad day, and let me tell you, there's days like that, right? It's like you slayed it, like, and you still continue to slay it. I mean, $12,000+ in just a couple of weeks with tons of sales, not even counting your Medicare business that we rock and roll on. Do you ever have days where, just so the audience knows, this ain't unicorns and rainbows, okay? Do you ever have days where maybe you don't have a sale and it's just, you know,
Sure. But I would say this, there's days I don't have a sale. But I would say there's not usually a day that I don't have a sale that I didn't put forth max effort, right?
Right.
And here's the thing too. I forget where I heard this, but I love analogies, right? So this is another good one, right? If you were to have like a big piece of butcher paper on the wall, right, and you walked up with a Sharpie and you just drew a little circle, a little black dot, right, and then you walked up to that black dot and you basically put your eyeball on it, the only thing you see is black, dark, dismal, right? And you're like right there because you're just so focused on that hour, that call, that day, right? That's what you're focused on. But when somebody gets you and they pull you back 10 feet from it, you're like, man, that's just a little dot. The whole thing's white, you know? And so I think that's a perspective that I try and have, and I try and share with my team a lot. It's like, hey, man, yeah, that was a tough call. And you could keep your eyeball on that dot, or you could step back and be like, hey, that's just one little blip. It's one little tiny dot. And I got a whole bunch of white space here to draw whatever I want to draw. So yeah, you're going to have days where you don't sell. You're going to have calls where you get yelled at. You're going to have people that hang up on you. You're going to have times where you're like, forget this. But then you just say, hey, I'm staring at the dot. I'm staring at the dot, and I want to step back and look at the big picture.
And that's so awesome. I love you sharing it with that, and let the audience can see what reality looks like compared to this stuff. Because like a lot of times it's like, oh, you just slay it every moment, every day, every call, just lays right down and says, buy from me. And it's not the truth. Like powerful tools for sure, but it's not everybody just says yes. It's the no bus is going to happen to everybody, myself included. But to know what to do when the no's do come, a little bit of a game changer, Corey, compared to where your past was.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it was, there was kind of one pat response to everything. And it was funny to listen to a new agent that wasn't super creative try and do that, because it just sounded like a broken record over and over. Da, 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 and then you just get hung up on, right? I'm sorry. It's like, am I talking to a robot? There's not actually a well-crafted response to this objection. And, I think the other thing too, just on the topic of objections and no's, they come in different flavors. You can't treat every single objection exactly the same way. Sometimes an objection, somebody's really seeking information and it's a legitimate question. And if you patronize them with a formulaic response, treating them like they're just trying to blow you off, you're going to lose an otherwise really good opportunity. So, one thing I think we talk about is like listening, right? Listening to what they're really saying, and then using, we've got, you teach, and we use tons and tons of responses, and it's not even like a Rolodex that you just memorize and spit them out. At some point, you just kind of get used to the language and the approach and everything like that. And the fact that, we're agreeing with people is huge. We're not arguing with them, so I think that's a big key component to getting through the process.
Yeah, I think you and I both witnessed this in the industry, where it's like I was equate it to like the fighting nuns. You say this, I say that. It's like rock 'em, sock 'em in a bad way.
Right.
And it's like, there's some really bad training on YouTube, everybody. Please be careful. I always say vet your trainer. Please vet your trainer. Please vet your trainer. Okay. But like one rebuttal for everything. Bull crap. Like try that with your wife tonight. Okay. When she tells you something, just turn to her and say, fine. See how that works for you.
Yeah.
One response does not work for everything. It just doesn't. We're human beings. We listen to. And yeah, there's some things that can definitely help, but getting past that no by acknowledging some certain things and maybe being trained to the next level, I promise you, everybody, it will launch you to where you want to go. But it's not adversarial, like nothing abrasive. It's handling people professionally, not handling people in this pushy way. Because, Corey, do you or I ever like being pushed?
No.
So why would we? That's why we don't do it to our clients.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like I think back to when I was younger, like in my early 20s, going out to get a car or something. And I remember walking onto a car lot, and the guy, before I even looked at a car, said, let's go ahead and run your credit. And I was like, no, man, I'm not want to do that. I want to look at cars. No, we need to run your credit. That's not where I bought my car. Right? I did buy a car that day. I did not buy it from him. Like, come on, man. I want to look at the cars. I want to see what's out there. Why are you pushing me? Why are you pushing me? Why are you telling me what I got to do? Nobody wants to be told what they got to do. People want to, they want to make the decisions, and I think a really well put together presentation, you almost have the client asking you for the sale rather than you asking them for it. And that's one thing I love too, because we just talk about, their need, their solution, what works for them, how we can bless them, what impact it's going to have on their life. And, you get to the end where people are like, yeah, that's what I want. I want that. That's an easy application to take, right?
And it doesn't take you forever to get it done either. I mean,
No.
guaranteed issue on a guaranteed issue without a health interview from point to point. How long is that process for you now?
Oh, I mean, yeah, probably 25, 30 minutes total.
Right.
Like when you're doing health questions and they're on oxygen 24/7, you're like, all right. So,
Yeah, no, it's powerful. It's so funny because people that don't use power scripts, they use these Frankenstein scripts. They have to be on the phone so much longer than us. It's mind numbing. Like if I had to be on the phone as long as they do saying that stuff, I think I'd beat myself to death.
Right.
With that thing right there.
Yeah. Well, I think we talked about mindset a little bit too with, another thing I really appreciate about the group and about our organization is it is client focused, and there's so many people in the industry that are they have commission breath, and it's like, what can I do to make the most in this second? That's the most important thing. It's important that we stay, financially solvent and we're moving ourselves forward so that we can continue to bless people. But man, I've heard recordings of calls when it becomes to that guaranteed issue thing, and you can just hear the client get dejected. They're not excited about the product. They're not excited about getting this deal. And not the client, the agent, right? They're dejected. They're not excited because they know their commissions, whatever, we know it doesn't pay as much. And then the client's not going to be excited. They're not going to be happy. They're going to have buyer's remorse. They're going to be like, what did I do? You know what I mean? I am just as excited and happy to bless a client with a guaranteed issue product as I am with a day one coverage at a maximum premium. Because at the end of the day, no matter what your belief is, if you take care of clients all day, and you put them first in their needs, right? Whatever your belief is, it's going to take care of you, and that's just how I walk, right? And that's how I think our whole team walks. It's like, we had a big, long discussion about, even just replacement in general. Like, when would you replace a policy? And taking a look at that, it's like, you know what? There's a lot of groups out there that would say, oh, it's a guaranteed issue product and they've had it for 3 years, but look, we can move them over to this one and it's only $2 more, but they get you. No, you know what? They get me if I get them an extra 1,000 or 1,500 too. So, but that's a better decision for the client. And I think if you walk through your business doing that, you're going to be successful.
And doing right by the client is so critical. Like ethics, it matters, right? Just like partner with, it does matter. Like who you with will influence you for good or for bad. It's like you face-to-face agents, y'all know what I'm saying. Go hang out in one of those cat pee houses and don't think you're gonna come out smelling okay, Ralph Lauren cologne. I don't think so. You're gonna come out smelling like, you know what? Who you hang out with will influence you whether you realize it or not. And that's the powerful thing. Like, our work family is so fun. Like, we have lots of just hangout time, sometimes with no agenda. It's like, hey, let's just hang, because we actually enjoy each other's company, shockingly.
Yeah, for sure. And you talk about ethics, right? There's a lot of groups out there, and, erosion starts with one pebble. And then you look and the whole riverbank's gone, right? But it starts with just that first pebble. So, there's groups out there and they'll say, oh, well, we can bid the roll here or do this or whatever, and we've all probably, reviewed a policy for somebody who's been smoking their whole life and it's listed non-smoker or something like that. It starts with that pebble. And that's one thing that I really maybe more than anything else appreciate about your group is extremely true to morals and ethics. We just play by the books, and there's a safety and security there, that I think in some other groups, when you're like, hey, well, you can fudge that, or you can fudge that, or you can do that, that that's the pebble, and then the next thing you know, the riverbank's gone.
Absolutely. No, it's you're so right. I mean, it really is. The fish always stinks from the head down. I mean, it does. I mean, it's like, and sometimes you don't even realize it sometimes, because some of these MLMs, they'll shine you on, and it's like you don't even realize, like, when you figure out who's driving the Ferraris all day long and flipping the Rolexes, and what they're doing with the office staff. Okay, it just make you go, woof, what? Like, culture matters. It does. But yeah, no, your success is amazing. Your team's, phenomenal in what you're doing, and more importantly, like who you're helping. Not only from an agent standpoint, the folks that you're bringing onto your team and helping your agents get explosive growth themselves and them become successful. That's something you got to feel pretty good about at night. When you go to bed at night, even though you're working really hard with your own agency, how does that make you feel when you get into your day?
I mean, I honestly, I feel like my day's not over till everybody on my team's in a good spot. Even if they didn't sell, hey, I want to hop on a quick call with them and pump them up, and I want to spot them as they're flexing those muscles, right? So my day doesn't end until I feel like everybody on my team's in a good spot. It doesn't mean that I badger them every single day, but I definitely want them to know I'm there for them, and no matter what, they are in a good spot. So it feels good. You know what I mean? I think I texted you one day. I said, man, I'm dog tired, but that's the feeling of hustle, and it feels good, right? Like, I've never enjoyed being so tired in my life. But hey, when you wake up, 3 a.m. to start getting stuff done, and you're up till midnight trying to get stuff done and help people, it's a good feeling. You know what I mean? So we work hard, and then we'll rest really hard too at some point.
Absolutely. You and I both on a Friday, man, we're smoked. Like, we still work a little bit on the weekend, we're smoked, but it's a good smoke. You're just like, your fires, every piece of wood's been consumed. It's like you laid it all on the battlefield, and you've got complete belief, but you did everything possible to serve every person that you're with. That is a great feeling, to be exhausted, but you're exhausted as a successful person that did everything you could, and you succeeded because you gave everything, as opposed to one half in, or nope, you just book a call to talk to me, and I don't talk to anybody past 5 or past 3, or inaccessible. It's not even acceptable to us, obviously,
right.
but that's not the norm. And it's like, it's when your team rocks. I know we've had so many conversations, and it's like, it's so cool to, like, yeah, look, one of the reps that partners with me just rocked today. They've got 2 or 3 today. And it's like, yeah, buddy, that's amazing. It's like, it's exciting. It's like, you and I are not ones where it's like, oh, let's be Tarzan and just beat our own chest. And don't even get stuff done. We both sold one yesterday.
And that's, and I was going to speak to that really quick too. You said earlier, choose your trainer carefully, right? I would add on that, don't train from somebody who's not an active agent. Like, that's just silly. Like, why? I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe you've had experience in the past, but let's just face it. Things evolve, right? And products evolve, and people's attitudes towards insurance evolve. Everything evolves over time. And if you don't have a trainer, if you don't have an upline that's actively producing, I mean, they don't have to be producing, a ton, but they're hitting the phones, they're talking to clients, they know what's out there. How are they training to the current norms, right? The current standards. So I would add that, choose your trainer carefully, and choose a trainer that's actually working the business.
Oh, that's great advice. That is great advice. I mean, you guys got to be careful out there in the YouTube space. Be careful and cautious. Some folks that are like, and I do telesales and face-to-face. No, they don't. They may script, but do they really sell? Have they sold a piece of business in the last year, last 2 years, 3 years for that matter? And have they even successfully sold by the telephone? No. When you really get down and dirty to it, like, ask them if they've run true call centers. Have they? Maybe not. Where was the brick and mortar? Are the people that they call center, or do they just work out of their homes in their pajamas? There's an acute difference here. So make sure that you vet your trainer, but make sure you're learning, like Corey is speaking to, that just like in his agency as well, he does the same work that everybody else does. It doesn't mean we always get as much time to do it, but it's like, if I have any free time, I give of myself to every person that partners with me to serve them. That's my job. Okay. To do that. But I also get after it with them. I don't say, do as I say, not as I do. It's, you got to have turnkey systems, but you've also got to turn the key yourself, for goodness sakes. Like, have somebody that's willing to get.
Yeah. You got to use your own system to know that it works. And I would add to that list of questions you're asking your trainer, just ask them if they were doing telesales before COVID, right?
Huge, everybody. Check if they've done it prior to COVID, and how successful were they prior to COVID. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because what's going on is a lot of people now, it's like, oh, we're going to do telesales. We're going to call it Zoom. It's like, I'm sorry, folks. That's called face-to-face insurance sales, and you don't have any gain. That's all it is. That's all it is.
It's foolish to think that it's not the same. I've done face-to-face as well. It's not the same process. And it's not, you don't just take a face-to-face appointment and run it over the phone. It does. That's not going to work, right? And you're not going to take a phone process and go do it face to face. That's not going to work either. Those are separate processes that you follow. And so, if you want to do telesales, if you want the flexibility and the luxury of being able to work from a home office, partner with somebody who does telesales, right? Partner with somebody who's been doing telesales for a good while, and is having success at telesales, not somebody who does face-to-face, but then, you could do telesales as well. Use the same script. It ain't going to work.
Oh, I've seen so many agents just get pummeled. And a lot of those free scripts out there pummel people in the face too, because it's basically, we call them Frankenstein scripts, you and I do, because it's like, some morphed up monster. It's like a little piece of this, little piece of that, just glue it all together and put some electricity with rah-rah and let's see what happens. Okay. And it's like, you got this monster coming out of the woodwork, as opposed to monstrous growth, where you've got something that's actually the right tool for the right job. And unfortunately, people don't realize it sometimes until it's too little too late, and they get hurt in this industry. I mean, every person that's been trained and gone through the telemastery program, even in Corey's agency, every one of them is still selling insurance today. They're not sitting on. Is that not correct?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah. They're all actively working, and there's flexibility, you know what I mean? Like we said, flexibility, nobody's accountable to me, right? You're only accountable to yourself. I mean, yeah, there's times when, you might say, hey, especially with the holidays coming up, I got one agent traveling right now, and that's great. How awesome. You're like, hey, let me check with the boss and see if I can take today off. Yep, we're good. That's what I love. That's what I love about the industry, but it's also what I hate about the industry too. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, can I have today off again? Sure. You need to fire your boss at some point.
Right. And then we always talk about that even in the beginning on our first day. It's like, go look at yourself in the mirror, right? It's like, oh, hello. It's like, no, you mean, Corey, I've never asked to check your schedule. Have I ever asked you how many dials you've done? Have I ever asked you, what did you do for me lately? Ever?
No, never. And, if you come from a group where you had, some sort of a report you filled out all the time with, metrics and things like that, you'll relate to the fact that, hey, you kind of feel this pressure, and sometimes you're dialing because you just don't want to put a bad number on the report. And maybe that works for some people. I mean, personally, I like to enjoy what I do, and I'm accountable to myself. And you know what? I feed my brain with self-accountability stuff, podcasts and books, and just surrounding myself with people that think that way, and so I don't feel sorry for myself if I have a bad day. I say, hey, I had the day that I was meant to have. It humbles me for tomorrow, and it makes me better. So, I'm accountable to me. I'm not accountable to you. My team's not accountable to me, but we support each other, and I know that if I need to call you and say like, hey man, I'm in a funk and I need some help, walk me through what I'm doing, I know you're going to lay it on me and you're going to give it to me straight. And it's all in love. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, I'm helping you get where you want to get. It has nothing to do with, well, you need to produce this much or else, this happens with your contract or blah, blah, blah. It's nothing like that. Nothing.
And that's so important. I appreciate you saying that. As for the audience to understand, I'm kind of known as a velvet hammer. I'm very kind to everyone, but I'm very direct because there's a lot of fluffing of the feathers in the industry. We don't operate that way. A good family should never operate with this smoke and mirrors garbage or passive aggressive garbage. Just be kind, be direct. Let's work together and push through and just proceed. Whatever happens, it's just, are you working with angry grandpa? Are you working for someone that's going to help you? And I'm not a grandpa. Just saying. So no,
go, thinking back to when we started this conversation, and I think you asked me, what does it sound like in the agency? And, I said selflessness. So if you have an upline that is not selfless, they have a me first attitude, then that's where why is your production low? Where's this? You need to do this to get your production to go to this point or else blah, blah, blah. That's a me first attitude, and it's not that selfless attitude, right? Where it's how can I help you, and so I don't know. You just learn I think to look for clues in people and the way they posture themselves and language they use. And it tells you a lot about the kind of support you're going to get from people. So, I think just kind of packaging that all together, when you are interviewing your upline and you are interviewing them, they're not interviewing you. When you're interviewing your upline, listen for that stuff. Well, what support am I going to get?
Subtle cues. It's powerful. Mm-hmm. Vet your trainer, vet who you partner with. Just like in marriage, you got to make sure it's a good one. You get a bad one, you're going to want to divorce out of that sucker so fast. It's not cost you anything nice, right? Sometimes it costs you your whole career. It's not always half.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Partner right, everybody. Well, I appreciate you being here today, Corey. Thank you for everything you're doing, for those that you're serving. Amazing work. Crazy proud of you. For anybody that needs help, reach out, jasonfinalexpense.com. If you like Corey and want to partner with him, reach out as well, and I'll put you in touch with him. I appreciate you. Have an amazing day, and I appreciate you watching.
Thank you.